Hello and welcome to Restless Gecko Reviews. I just want to say before I get started, if you like my content and you enjoy what I'm doing, I know it's been a little while, but if you want to subscribe, it really helps me, lets me know that I'm doing a good job and you're enjoying the videos. So I just want to get started by talking about the mice that I haven't reviewed but I've played with. So there's two main ones in the last couple of months, month and a bit I think it is now. One of them was the Lamzu Maya X. The main reason I haven't reviewed it is because it was just so close to everything I've already been using. It's just so similar to the Gpro Superlight. It's similar to the Vaxee XE in some ways for my grip type, in that I get the same result whether I play with the Superlight or I play with the XE. They're just like an archetype of mouse. They are. If I can grip them exactly the same way, I don't perform any better, I don't perform any worse. The only difference between them are the clicks. Performance is relatively the same. And that's not to say that the Maya X isn't a good mouse, it's just not interesting enough for me to keep around and keep playing with and spend my time on. Because, like I said, it doesn't give me anything different. The second mouse is the GPX Dex. And the reason that I've not reviewed it, I think it's a great shape, I think it's really, really good. The reason I haven't reviewed it is because I had some QC issues with it. It was basically the base of the mouse would flex into the shell, so it would essentially, the shell from the outside would come around the bottom, the base of the mouse, and it was just awful. And if you're spending $150 or £150, €160 or wherever it is on a mouse, you don't expect that to happen. It's just poor quality, especially from someone like Logitech. It's a fair investment of money, and to get something like that is just subpar. But generally, I liked it as a mouse. It was very similar to the Deathadder V3 Pro in sort of the size. It's a little bit taller, a little bit neater in the hand, so it feels like you're holding something that's a little bit more compact, whereas the Deathadder V3 Pro just feels a little bit more spread out to me. Both great shapes, but the QC is miles better on the Deathadder V3 Pro, at least the smooth touch. I did have a white version of the original Deathadder V3 Pro, and it creaked like mad. The scroll wheel eventually just gave in. Still get limbo jumps with this one, but you get limbo jumps with pretty much every single mouse at this point. So yeah, so that's the main reason why I didn't review them. I wouldn't suggest getting the Dex at the moment until they sort out all of the issues with the QC. I did have an issue with a GPX2 that I had for about a month. Exactly the same thing happened with that. So I don't know if it's part of their manufacturing process or how they put the shelves together. But it was just that there was that flex about here. It just went into the shell, and then basically it would overlap the base. So this seems to be a common problem among Logitech products, or at least the latest ones that are based on the Superlight design. But yeah, that's the only reason. And then moving on to something that doesn't disappoint is the S2-DW from Zowie with their new 4K polling rate, which, if you enjoy that sort of thing, it's very, very good. Yeah, it is a great mouse. It's everything we've come to expect. It's a bit of a tank, weighs in I think 61 grams, so it's about right, about the weight that I like. It has the new white PTFE instead of the old black scratchy, much slower skates. You do feel a little bit of a difference, but they do include the black ones in case you missed that muddiness. They do include a set of the black ones in the box. Yeah, adjustable polling rate from the bottom of the mouse. You don't have to faff about with any software or anything like that. Usual Huano switches, which they're not the best. They're not the worst either. They are what they are, and it's everything we've come to expect from Zowie mice at this point. Build quality, absolute tank, no flex, no issues. The bottom is perfectly solid as well. All the buttons and everything feels nice. The side buttons are quite poppy. They're quite big actually on the S2 as well, which is slightly different from the ZA13 and the FK2 as well. I think they've got slightly smaller thumb buttons on the side. But yeah, it's a really, really nice mouse. One of the things I like about this mouse particularly is the shape. So the shape has a more backward, mid to back hump. so it sort of comes back up to right here. But it's not too drastic. It's not like the ZA13, it's not like the X2H or the Sora or anything like that. It's a lot more gradual, so you can rest your hands on top of it quite nicely. It doesn't have like that sort of door wedge style to it, which I quite enjoy. I did worry initially when I was purchasing the mouse that I thought, oh, it might be a bit too small, maybe I should wait for an S1. But no, it's actually been really, really good. One of the things it has done is it's forced me to change my grip style. So originally I would play like this with a bit of a gap underneath bottom of just into my palm there. But what I've actually started doing is just completely enclosing the mouse in my hands and moving my fingers just up to the top there. I found this has been quite good because the more relaxed my muscles are in my arm, the more I can use my wrist as well. So when you do this and you try and move your wrist, it's a little bit stiffer than if you're just relaxed like that. You can feel that this tension here of this muscle, it just creates tension all the way up your arm. So to tense that, you're sending the signal right the way through to your little finger essentially and part of your palm, and it just locks you up a little bit, which is good for flicking for the most part, but it's not the most comfortable. It's not good for longevity and things like that. So I found that the more relaxed I am, the better I've actually played. And this has actually taken me to one of my record performances on Aim Labs on 6-shot. So I've smashed my records, and even in tracking and things like that, it's been really, really good. I do have a decent amount of stability with the mouse, even though it is quite a small mouse in comparison. Just compare them. It's not that much smaller, but in hand it does feel a decent amount. If I could line them up properly and not mess that up. So you can see the GPX is a little bit bigger. It feels much bigger in hand. This is a little bit more of a slimline sort of mouse. It is comparable slightly to the Zowie U2, but I would say that this is less restrictive than the U2. So if you have quite big hands and the U2 locked you into a grip that you weren't particularly happy with, I think the S2 does give you a bit more freedom as to where you can place your fingers and how you can play with the mouse. It is a bit more versatile as far as I'm concerned, and that's why I liked it much more than the U2. I know it is a bit of a fan favourite, but the S2 has just been really, really good. Yep, scroll wheel's the same scroll wheel you expect from Zowie. But the build quality is absolutely top notch. I really enjoy having a docking station. Like I said, the clicks aren't the best. They are Zowie clicks, but you get used to them pretty quickly. They're reasonably spammable. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Side buttons, like I said, great. All the options in the bottom of the mouse. You can't really go wrong, but the shape is what makes it for me. I'd never used an S2 before, or the S shape in general, but yeah, I really, really like it. It's been very comfortable for me, very good with micro adjustments and things like that. Out of the three that I could have chosen from at the time, there was the ZA13 and the FK2. The reason I didn't go for the FK2 is because I have an XE. I know it's slightly different, but the things that I look for now when I'm looking to get a mouse is, what is it going to do differently from the other mice that I have? What is it that's unique about it that might push me in a bit of a different direction with my aim or with my play style? And this is what this has done for me. It's basically convinced me that I need a more relaxed grip. It just allows me to ease up a little bit more, and it's made me more accurate. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking to assessing whether I want to buy a mouse or not, is what is it doing that's different from everyone else? And that's the issue I had with the Maya X. It was so similar to everything. It didn't make me change my grip, because my grip is the same on each different mouse. I move my hand from one to another. Does it feel the same in my hand if I just take my hand up, drop it on another one? If it does, it's not doing anything different for me. It's not forcing me into a new way of playing or a new way of holding the mouse. And I don't see the point in spending my money on mice that aren't doing anything for me. But the S2 has definitely done that. It's very comfortable mouse to use, very, very well made. It will last a very long time. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable, and I would massively recommend the S2 for anybody that's looking for it. So yeah, my hands are 18 by 11, I think they are, now that I've measured them properly. So I've got quite wide hands, but it's perfectly comfortable for me. I do envelop the entire mouse, so you don't get to see much of the mouse due to my hand size, but yeah, generally very, very, very good mouse. Really enjoying using it, and it'll remain in the rotation. So my current rotation is the Deathadder V3 Pro Smooth Touch, the GPX2, and they're the sort of three that I'm switching between at the moment. And yeah, I have to say I really do like the Zowie. It's been a nice surprise for me this year. After everything's been quite stale and a bit boring, it's nice to have something a bit different. So yeah, so that's it for this one. If you want to like and subscribe, I will be coming up with more videos in the future. One of the ones that I'm looking at doing is a ergo versus ambi aim test. So I'm going to work out which style of mouse I aim better with, which one I get better scores with, which one's more comfortable, just to work out whether there's anything that the ergo provides that the ambi doesn't in terms of its shape. So maybe it's better at tracking, maybe it's better at flicking. What is it better at than the other mouse? So I've picked two mice that are relatively comparable, both easily available from multiple vendors, similar polling rates, similar tech, obviously both optical switches. It's just, yeah, it's going to be my journey on each of them to see which one I perform better on over time. So I'll give it a few weeks on each and then come back with my results. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Like I said, if you want to subscribe, it really helps the channel. Give it a like, comment. I'll get back to you in the comments. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.